Okay, so we are looking at our 1-point perspective packet. We're looking at the front page, and on that front page it's going to explain a couple of the definitions to us and how to get started on our 1-point perspective drawings. So here's what it looks like. It says 1-point perspective. 1-point perspective is creating an illusion of 3-dimensional space on a 2-dimensional surface. So that means creating the trick that we're seeing a 3-dimensional object on a 2-dimensional surface, so your piece of paper. Using vertical, that's up and down, and horizontal, that's side to side, lines that extend from one point on the horizon line. Step 1 says draw a horizon line. So that's just that straight line across your paper. It says horizon line is a line at eye level where things recede, so where things move back. The line on which the vanishing point sits. Step 2, place the vanishing point on the horizon line. That's this guy right here. Our vanishing point is the point where receding lines converge and the point objects and lines appear to disappear. So that just means it's the point if we're looking down a straight dirt road or if we're looking down railroad tracks where we see it make that triangle and things disappear. That's your vanishing point. Step 3 says, place objects below, above, and on the horizon line. Okay, which is what we're doing for practice prompt A. Step 4 says, use a ruler and line up the corners and edges of the object with the vanishing point. Draw a straight line. Okay, so just like my video shows for lining up this circle edge back to your vanishing point. Here's your ruler here. Here's some tips. It says draw lines lightly to allow erasing later. So instead of drawing these lines back to your vanishing point really heavy, we want to draw them lightly so that we can erase them. Here's another tip. It says if lines go only through the object when connecting to the vanishing point, you do not need to include them. Here's their example of the square, and they're talking about this line right here, or this point right here that's going back to their vanishing point. You don't need to draw this line because it's going through your object. All right, moving down to steps 5 and 6. Step 5 says redefine the edges of the object to make them appear to be receding in space. So that just means we're drawing this back edge to make it look like our object is going back in space, but we're not keeping these zoomy lines. Here it says draw the second edge parallel to the original edge of the object. So parallel just means straight back from your original object. So if you have a ruler, you can scoot that ruler back and draw that line straight back. Here's another tip. It says make sure corners meet when redrawing the edges. So if I'm drawing things like squares, my corners are meeting. You can't see this one here, but you can here. And here's one more tip. It says use a ruler for straight edges and freehand your curved edges. So whatever happens in the front is what happens in between your guidelines in the back. All right. Step 6 says erase the lines that connect to the new edges of the objects and to the vanishing point. So that's these lines right here. We're just erasing them. And this says objects above the horizon line will appear to be above eye level. Objects on the horizon line will appear to be at eye level. And objects below the horizon line will appear to be below eye level. So that just means objects above the horizon line, it's like I'm looking up at them. Objects at the horizon line, it's like I'm looking straight out and they're at my eye level. And objects below the horizon line are things I'm looking down on, so like if I have a box on the ground. Step 7 says add details, experiment with odd shapes, and try adding cutouts to your shapes. And they've got one of their odd shapes here, which you can practice in prompt A. They've got a cutout they practiced here that you can also practice in prompt A. It says to create a cutout, draw a shape inside the object. Connect the corners and edges to the vanishing point. So they're talking about these corners here And there's that repeating of the edge. Whatever happened in front here happens in the back. That's how they make that cutout. And then this is what we're going to get to in week 2. It says try creating a city block. Use horizontal lines to create an alley space. They're talking right back here. Between buildings, use vertical lines to create windows and doors. They're talking about these here and then back here. It says connect the tops and bottom line to the vanishing point. And so we'll look at this more in week 2, but when you draw a building going back in space, you draw these vertical lines, you make new points that you need to take back to the vanishing point. That's what that's talking about. Okay, and then if we want to look at page 2, our directions for our assignment this week, it says 1 point perspective, apply your knowledge. In each space below, draw a horizon line, draw a vanishing point, follow the instructions in each section, use 1 point perspective techniques to make the objects appear 3D, and make sure to erase unused lines connecting to the vanishing point. Okay, so in our Google Classroom or paper assignments, this first one that says draw 3 objects is prompt A, and the second one that says write your name in block letters is prompt B. In prompt A, it says draw 3 objects. 1 must be curved. Draw 1 above, 1 below, and on the horizon line. There's a video for that if you need help with that. Prompt B over here says write your name in block letters. Make them appear to be 3D. For prompt B, there's actually 3 videos that show you how to do this vertically, horizontally, and at a diagonal going back in space. The very bottom of this page is going to be prompt C. We don't need to do prompt C this week. This will be for next week, for week 2. It says create your own city. Include a street, sidewalk, or alley, and add details to your buildings. We're going to look at prompt C next week. So if you want to get head start and you want to try it out this week, great, but you do not have to. That is next week's assignment. Alright guys, that's all I've got for this worksheet. Good luck, and I will go read the space worksheet for you.